Dubbed as one of the most critically acclaimed games of all time, The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time left a massive impact on the entire video game industry for years to come after its debut. In the late 90s, the Nintendo 64 became the console where lots of games were beginning the crossover from two-dimensional to three-dimensional. In 1998, we got Ocarina of Time, an action-adventure game that roughly follows the same story as its predecessors in the Zelda series, and the first game in the series to be shown on a 3D platform. The game made massive headlines when it was first announced and was advertised everywhere, and many of the Zelda fans, if not all, were dying to see the changes that would come from moving to 3D. With changing a game's platform, a literal whole new world of possibilities could be opened up. But there was also a huge risk of potentially quote-unquote ruining the game and its original qualities. Personally for me, I saw this step up as a good thing. Because of Ocarina of Time's existence, Zelda games have only continued to grow in their impressive graphics and vast features that help you explore the beautiful world and storyline. The majority of my childhood was spent hanging out in enchanted forests, castles, and even dangerous caverns, all thanks to the Nintendo 64 classic, The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. But before I dive even deeper into this, there's the very important backstory I need to fill you in on. Despite being an incredibly in-depth storyline, I can try and condense it as much as possible. Ocarina of Time is a magical and enchanted journey that begins with the introduction of our main and playable character, a young boy who is called by whatever you name him, but we really know from the previous games and all of the internet that this boy is none other than Link. Link, a Hylian boy, is living in the ancient forest of Kokiri, and is one day called forward by the forest's guardian, the Great Deku Tree. Link discovers the Deku Tree is soon going to die, and in his final moments he tells Link about the evil man from the desert who cast a spell on him. He warns Link of an evil force he fears is coming to wreak havoc on the world, and that Link must do something to stop it. Link leaves the forest on a mission to speak with members of the royal family of Hyrule about what he's just learned. Here he meets Princess Zelda. She tells him that a man named Ganondorf is planning to destroy Hyrule, and that Link must find 3 spiritual stones, which currently hold time and place. After various trials, Link is finally able to obtain the spiritual stones, and he's able to open the door of time inside an ancient temple. This door has guarded the ultimate weapon, the Master Sword, for many years. A bit earlier in the game, Zelda gifts you with her ocarina, the Ocarina of Time. With this and the Master Sword, the door to the Sacred Realm can finally be opened. Inside resides the Triforce, a legendary relic of all power. Not only is the Master Sword a key to opening important realms, but it also holds the mystical power of being able to time travel. When the sword is pulled from its place in the temple, Link is instantly sent 7 years into the future. When it's placed back, Link becomes a child once again. This feature allows you to not only be able to do specific tasks while being the 2 respective ages, leaving for fun age-restricted challenges while you're either an adult or child, but also the frustration of constantly having to switch between the 2 to get to certain achievements. With this new ability to travel through time, Link must use his powers to unravel the mysteries of Hyrule and work with the 7 ancient sages to defeat Ganondorf and seal away all of his evil for good. It all sounds incredibly wordy and confusing, and it kind of is. There are a lot of different sacred items and lots of characters that need to be remembered throughout the story. You get more of the story once Link awakens 7 years later for the first time and you encounter the first of the 7 sages. The Sage of Light named Garu informs you of what has become of the world while you've been asleep all this time, and what you need to do from here as the now acclaimed Hero of Time. Along the way, as you meet more sages and clear more dungeons, the story still doesn't really progress, and you get the same banter from the sages about how you need to hurry and save the world. Like, that's not what I've been trying to do all along. The game finally picks itself up again as the story begins to come full circle and you enter the final stages. While the dialogue is of course a heavy part of the game, for real, you do a lot of talking and interacting with other characters. I don't want this to discourage players who have never experienced the game before. The quests that you have to go on are memorable in so many ways. Each dungeon has its own color scheme, specific set of enemies to fight, and, of course, music. Every detail down to the texture of the floor completely immerses the player, and it will really make you feel like you've been excavating a volcano or traveling through the land of the dead. The puzzles and challenges of each destination are difficult, to say in the lightest way possible. I don't even know how many years it took me before I finally didn't need to look up cheats for every single challenge online. The missions are tedious, and the bosses are frustrating. And sometimes you wonder when you became so stupid and why you can't figure out a simple block puzzle. But, to be completely honest, if I wasn't rage quitting every 10 minutes at the puzzles in Zelda, I would say that I'm not playing it right. It's really the vastness of the land of Hyrule and the detail and depth of each realm and dungeon that really makes the game. For me, I personally love all of the backstory and lore, and I still find it to be incredibly fascinating. And after playing this game for literally my entire life, I can pretty much name every small detail and minor character like it's nothing. Ocarina of Time mixes together the classic elements of its previous Zelda games with its new world full of exploration so well, and gives you so many new opportunities to really feel like you're Link himself. There's the first-person view of shooting from your bow, and the perk of getting to ride your very own horse. Probably my personal favorite part of Ocarina of Time, and one of its most memorable features to other players, is how music became a tool as handy as Link's hookshot or his sword. With the ocarina, you can play various tunes to help solve puzzles, make things appear, and warp your way across the land, which adds so much more to the game. There's honestly way too many elements to this game to put into a video of reasonable length. There's side quests with masks, planting magical bean plants, capturing spirits in bottles, rescuing a family of cursed spider hybrids, fishing, yes, fishing, and the list goes on and on and on. To put it simply, Ocarina of Time really is just a purely beautiful game with an incredible backstory. There are a lot of elements to it that definitely aren't perfect, but I can always overlook the frustrating bits just to feel the adrenaline I get when I feel like a magical medieval hero about to save the world. If you've never had the opportunity to play the game, I highly recommend you try and get your hands on it somehow. If you can't access an N64, there's also its reboot for the 3DS released in 2011. There's so much to explore in the land of Hyrule, and a lot of people that need to be saved, so you better get out there now.